Good evening, everyone. I'm Steve Hayward of CBVA, real estate agents in the Costa Blanca in Spain, and welcome to our Spanish property webinar. I'm joined by an excellent group of panelists this evening, Amaya Ludriaga of Prime Legal, Patrick Postel from the Global Reach Group, John Moynes of PSS International Removals, and Anthony Roberts of the Choice Alliance Group. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, and don't forget that you can submit questions during the webinar, and if we don't deal with them immediately, we'll have a Q&A after the presentations, okay? So first this evening, Amaya is going to tell us about the Spanish property purchase process. So it's over to you, Amaya.
Thanks, Steve, and thanks for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here this evening. I'm going to share my screen so that everyone can see. That's it. Well, I would like to thank everyone to join us. Prime Legal is a law firm specialized in property law, so we will talk about property law and Spanish property purchase process. This is it. And also we will talk about Brexit implications. The first thing will be talk about the purchase process. First thing to say is that in Spain we don't have a purchase process system established like the conveyancing system in the UK. So I like to divide the process in 5 steps, which I used to say like, to a successful purchase. So the first step will be to do your research when you're looking for a property you want to move into Spain. I recommend always to use a reliable estate agent in the area. That will help you a lot to tell you how is if the property is according to your needs. That's the second point. You should think about what is the purpose of your investment, because it might be slightly different if your purpose is for permanent use or for holiday home. That will make a different kind of property sometimes. The second step will be it is a very short one, but a very important one. It is a deposit and the reservation contract. At this point, once you have found the property you want to buy, you will be asked to secure the property and the price by taking off market this property for a period of time. In that moment, you will be asked as well to pay the deposit and sign a contract. This contract normally is very short. It will say who are the parties to the contract, the vendor and the purchasers, and some kind of description of the property, what the property is and the number of the land registry, but not many clauses. So in this case, the reservation deposit, you have to be aware that normally it is not refundable. So I always advise that before signing any contract, before giving any deposit, you get the proper legal advice, because sometimes we can negotiate the clauses. We can put more clauses in that small contract and make sure that the property is in good legal conditions before going ahead. The third step, it is the biggest one. It is everything is when we do all the work. So in this step, after the reservation contract, we will run the searches. We will do all the checks on the property and negotiate the payment schedules and all the kind of conditions. It depends on the kind of the property as well. So we will look for who is the owner, if the property is registered in the land registry, if you're buying an off-plan property, if they have the building license in place, or if it's already a second home or it's a new house but it's already built, you need to have the first occupancy license. So that's very important to check as well. And also if it is free of any kind of charges or inconveniences. So at this point, I would like to remark that you can only rely on the information that you have in writing. For example, if you're buying a property furnished, it is interesting that you have the old inventory of furnitures annexed to the contract. Otherwise, you can have nasty surprises. So everything you need, or any condition you agree with the vendor has all the purchases, you have to put it in writing and annex to the contract. As well, in this moment is when we will ask for you the NI number, which is the number for foreigners, the identification number for foreigners. You will need to open a bank account in Spain, and if you need so, you will obtain a mortgage. So for all this kind of paperwork, we recommend to grant a power of attorney to your lawyer so that we can deal with all this paperwork. We can do it for you. Take care of all the process. About the NIE, it is important to know where and how long it takes to apply the NIE. Well, it will depend on the province. You have to apply for your NIE that now will be your TIE, where the TIE means is the card for the identification card for foreigners, which is changing at the moment with the Brexit. We will talk about this later. You will have to pay for that, to apply for that in the province where you're going to live, in the immigration office. So it will take, depending on this immigration office and the VC it will take different times. We don't have established time for that. Also, if you need to take a mortgage, it is very important that you take this in consideration before you sign the purchase contract, because it will take a long period. At least it can take 40 days or even more, because you need to go to notary twice, and you need to fill a lot of documents. You need to provide to the bank as well a lot of information about your economic situation, and it will take quite a while. Also, it's important to know in advance how much can you borrow to the banks. At this point, I won't go too deep in this because it can be very complicated, and it will depend on the situation of everyone. But the maximum that banks are given for non-residents is the 60% of the purchase price or the valuation price. It will depend which one is lower. And at this moment as well is the moment to plan your currency exchange, because you can get a mortgage in Spain, but the rest of the funds you will probably bring them from the UK, so they can help you save a lot of money, and that is Patrick will explain you how to deal with this exchange. And also, if you're planning to move to Spain, it is also the moment to consider and to take care of the dates, because as well, John will explain you later, it is not something that you can do from one week to the other. So it is a good moment to plan when you want to move and when you need your belongings to be in Spain. And then we will sign the contract. The next step is the completion. This is a short one for you, because your lawyer will prepare everything, all the paperwork for the notary. You will sign your title deed before the notary, who will make sure that all the legal procedure has been followed. We will prepare all the paperwork, all the certificates, information about the property, the prices, how much have you been paying for the deposit or the bank transfers. We will provide everything to the notary, and we will prepare your title deed so that you only need to go and sign your title deed. I would like to just bring your attention to this point, because it is important that in the power of attorney you granted for your lawyer to do your NIE and all these paperwork, you also granted faculties for buying the property on your behalf, especially in these times of the pandemic, that we are not very sure when are we going, if we are going to be able to take a plane or going somewhere. It is good that you are covered and your lawyer can sign your title deeds on your behalf. And the last step is the easy one. You just is collect the deeds, is pay the taxes, the register the property, so you won't have to take care of any of that, because your lawyer as well, in this case Prime Legal, will take care of this, and will also set up the utility services. So Prime Legal looks after absolutely everything. You just need to take your key and open the door and be relaxed and enjoy your new property in Spain. From my side, Steve, about regarding the purchase process, I'm done. We will talk later about the Brexit implications.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much, Maya. Okay, that's quite interesting. I mean, there are obviously some differences between the process that we might be accustomed to in the UK and the process in Spain, and that's very interesting for our viewers. I think it's also really probably quite obvious. It's really important to have a qualified professional and reputable lawyer like yourself. Okay, we're going to be coming back to Amaya later, but next up we have Patrick from the Global Reach Group, and he's going to explain how to make the most of your overseas currency transfers.
Thank you very much, Steve. If you could just share my screen.
Oh, sorry. We've got just a little technical hitch here, folks. Oh, you okay there?
That's better. I can share my screen now. Bear with me. Right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Patrick Postel, and I'm a senior manager from the business development team at the Global Reach Group. We are an international payment specialist, or currency broker for short. I'm here this evening to talk to you about making the most of your overseas money transfers when purchasing a property in Spain. In particular, how to minimize your exposure to negative currency fluctuations. So, what would you do with a few extra £1,000? Would you renovate a holiday home? Would you buy some new furniture? Would you buy a bigger property? Or would you pay for the cost of your overseas moves? As specialists in the market, our job is to help you save money on your international money transfers in the volatile foreign currency market. So, what is the difference that Brexit has made? When Britain voted to leave the EU in June 2016, it caused huge swings in the markets, causing the pound to drop by 10% against the euro after the result was announced. As you can see, the difference between the pound to euro exchange rate on the 22nd of June 2016 of 1.30 to the exchange rate on the 8th of September 2020 of 1.10 is around about a 15% decline. To put that into monetary terms, £300,000 in June 2016 would have bought you 390,000 euros. In September 2020, that would buy you 330,000 euros, which is a difference of 60,000 euros. So why not use a bank? This is a question we get quite often asked. Banks sell and offer so many different products, they simply do not have the time to solely focus on foreign currency. So they are less responsive to customers' needs. Exchange rates are constantly fluctuating 24 hours a day. If a piece of economic data is released that suddenly causes the pound to spike against the euro, a bank is not going to be able to react as quickly as we can. Banks also offer less competitive exchange rates and can quite often charge you a fee to send your money. So a little bit about Global Reach. Our company was founded in 2001. We have over 25,000 active clients. In 2019, we processed around 6 billion in foreign currency payments. We have over 200 employees and have offices in London, Cornwall, Cyprus, South Africa, Spain, the Netherlands, and we've recently expanded our operations into Canada. So we now have 8 regional offices in Canada. That's in Vancouver, Victoria, Calgary, Edmonton, Saskatoon, Winnipeg, Toronto, and Ottawa. Most importantly for you guys, we are authorised by the FCA, which is a Financial Conduct Authority, as an authorised payments institution, and also as an authorised electronic money institution. We use segregated clients accounts, which means your funds are always safe and secure. In 2020, we were winners of FIFO's Gold Trusted Service Award. Over the next few slides, I'm going to talk around some of the products that are designed to help you stay in control of your budget when purchasing a Spanish property. The first one I'm going to talk about is something called a spot contract. Generally, these tend to be used for smaller amounts. Say, for instance, 5,000 to 10,000 euros holding deposit on a property. A spot contract is the exchange rate at the time you purchase your currency. Next up, I'm going to talk about forward contract. The forward contract is a very effective way of ensuring the cost of your property does not suddenly start to become more expensive, because you can fix and freeze the exchange rate for up to 2 years in advance. In most cases, there will be a time delay from when you put a deposit down on a property to when you complete the sale. A completion can be roughly anywhere between 2 to 18 months, depending on if it's a resale or a new build off plan. I'm not the estate agent here, so I'll let Steve fill you in on the details around that a bit later. This is just a rough guide just to give you an understanding of the mechanics of a forward contract. If you agree to purchase a property, you pay your deposit, your reservation fee. So that was in April, and the property was 350,000 euros, and the exchange rate was 1.15. The cost of the property would be £304,347. When you come to complete the sale in September, the exchange rate is decreased to 110. The cost of your property is now 318,181. So you can see by using the forward contract, you could have saved yourself around 13,834, which is a lot of money. A forward contract is very easy to put in place. You open an account with us, you speak to your account manager who will discuss a forward contract with you. If you wish to proceed, all we require is a 10% deposit of the total amount you require. So for a forward contract of 300,000, we need a 30,000 deposit. The exchange rate is then frozen for the next 2 years. So you now have peace of mind that should the pound start to decline against the euro, you are now in complete control of your budget. Another type of financial instrument that a lot of our clients use when they are purchasing property is something called a limit and a stop loss order. These are two highly effective tools that are designed to help you control and maximize your budget. As I've previously mentioned, the foreign currency market is constantly being traded and exchange rates fluctuate 24 hours a day. Limit and stop loss orders allow you to use this to your advantage. If, for instance, you have an ideal pound to euro upper exchange rate and a lower limit that you would like to buy your currency at, say, for instance, you'd like to buy some euros if the pound hit 115 against the euro. Also, you would like to buy some if it dropped no lower than 1.3. What we can do is we can place these orders into the market for you. And if either of these rates are achievable, the order will automatically trigger and purchase your currency at that rate. Using a combination of a forward contract, limit order, stop loss orders, and our wealth of experience in the currency markets, we can help you put in place a robust strategy to minimize your exposure to currency risk, negative currency fluctuations. We also offer a service for smaller regular payments. We understand that many of our clients still have assets, bank accounts, pensions, etc. back in the UK. We found that many people use their high street banks to send their funds to their Spanish bank accounts. When they actually drill down and look into the rate they've received and the transfer fees they pay, this becomes a very expensive way to send your money to Spain. So we also offer a much more cost-effective solution to cater for our clients that wish to transfer smaller amounts, pensions, mortgages, living expenses. We effectively sit in between your UK bank and your Spanish account. You set up a standing order from your UK bank and transfer your sterling to our Barclays account. This can be done weekly, monthly, or quarterly. You can then go onto our award-winning online platform and send the funds to your Spanish bank. You can also store money in your online account with us till the exchange rate picks up to a rate you'd like to convert your funds at, and then obviously you can send them over to Spain. So what next? You can set up an account with us online or over the telephone. There are no associated costs involved. When you're ready to make your first transfer, it's very quick and easy. You give us a call, speak to your account manager, you agree a rate over the telephone, you then send your funds to our Barclays account, which is Barclays in London. You then tell us where you would like the funds to be sent. Obviously, if you're buying a property in Spain, they might be going directly to a mayor, they may be going to Steve, you may already have your Spanish bank account set up. You just simply tell us where you would like the funds sent, and then we'll send the funds to that account, and we'll send you an email just to confirm that it's all been done. Yeah, if any of you have any questions or you would like to discuss anything in more detail, or you would like a free currency consultation, please feel free to contact me direct. I believe Steve will be sharing my contact details at the end of the presentation. Thank you for listening. I'll now pass you back to Steve.
Yeah, thank you very much, Patrick. Quite interesting looking at those slides there. Quite amazing actually to see the savings that can potentially be made in these times of currency fluctuations. Yeah, great, thank you. Okay, now John from PSS International Removals is going to tell us about the best way to move your possessions to Spain. Welcome, John.
Hi, good evening, Stephen. Good evening, everybody. Just a little bit about PSS International Removals. We've been helping families get their personal effects, household effects, over to Spain. I would say now certainly just going over 39 years. So certainly an area that we feel that we are specialists in. We do on average around about 3,000 to 4,000 moves a year. So whether you've just got a box to send over, or personal effects, or a little bit of memorabilia, or your full household, where you need us to come and do all the packing, certainly that's something we can assist you with. The biggest problem, and the main reason I would like to have this discussion today, is what we call the last minute moves. The amount of phone calls we are receiving where clients are phoning up and saying, John, I've got 3-bedroom property that I want to get over to Malaga, but I need it done next week. Everybody is in a bit of a panic. They say that moving abroad or moving home is as stressful as getting married. So certainly don't put yourself under that amount of stress, leaving it to the very last minute. So we would actually say, start speaking to us at least a minimum of 3 to 4 months before you decide to make that move. Because you may decide, well, I'm going to pack a few things, or I really want to sit back and let the guys do everything for me. And also there's a couple of services, but more importantly, is it worth sending certain items? You know, you've got that IKEA piece of furniture, and by the time you dismantle it, we pick it up, get it out there, and have no idea how to put that together because you don't have the diagram. So it's all these little things that we would really like to discuss with you right from the beginning of the whole process. And also it gives you an idea, instead of us popping around, because at the end of it, you will only be charged for what we actually collect on the day. So it gives you that opportunity to go through your clothing. I haven't worn this in 10 years, or it's been in the loft for the last 10 years. Is it worth actually sending those effects? So what we offer our clients is either a free home survey, and because of COVID, we've actually taken on new technology, as with what we're doing this evening, is offering our clients a video survey. So if it's generally used on the small amount, I send you an app, you download it, runs in the background. It's pretty much like FaceTime. We walk around the property, you indicate what's going, and then we can base the cost and because it's all based on volume or cubic feet or cubic meters of what you're looking at sending. But the home survey is always the best option. We spend a good hour with you. We look at the access en route. You know, can we get a 7.5 ton vehicle parked outside a property in London? Does it impact on what material we're going to bring? Are there certain items, like for example, you may have an upright piano that needs special care, or really expensive artwork. So these are all the things that we will walk around. You'll get a full list and an itemized list of every single item that you indicated to us. What happens is that comes back to us. We then send you out an estimate or quote based on that volume. But now, because you've called us in advance and we've got the time to play around with figures, you could turn around, give me a call and say, John, actually from bedroom 2, please remove these items, or I couldn't resist, went and bought another 50 pairs of shoes, add it to the list. So it gives you a real indication of what type of cost. Now, the service that we offer is that we come around and pack absolutely everything. If it's going as a parts load service, because you've got the two services, you've got the dedicated service that we can have out in Spain within 7 working days, obviously considerably more expensive because it doesn't give the removal company the opportunity to bring things back. So fairly more expensive than what most people go for is a part load service. So basically you sharing that vehicle space with another family. So it's really important that we itemize everything, put your name, reference number, box number. So when looking at your inventory, you will know in box number 20, I'll find my cutlery. And when we do arrive out in Spain and we do the delivery, and one thing to keep in mind, it's always good to know what that address is so our transport team can look at Google Maps, look at the access, because with Spain, it could be little perky roads. I had one recently where there was weight restrictions on one side of the road and a different weight restriction on the other side of the road, really narrow. And we go out there with an 18-wheeler, so we may need to ferry the items. You know, you may be moving on the 10th floor, but there's no lift. Or even in London, we may need a cherry picker where we've got to get your sofa out of the window. So there's all these little things that we've got to take in account, and ideally, again, working with you. So really, it's all about, like Amaya said right in the beginning, it's about planning, thinking about all these different processes that you've got to take into account. And shipping and certainly moving your effects is one of those processes, because somewhere along the line, even if you're going into a fully furnished rented property, you may want to take those photographs, you know, your clothing. So you may only have a box or two. So certainly start thinking about us by the time it gets out there. We will do the exact reverse. So we will remove all the waste material from your furniture. Beds will be reassembled, put into the rooms. Dining room tables will be reassembled. Literally, the only thing we don't do is hang your clothing back and put your cups and saucers back into cupboards. Little things like plants. We get a lot of clients who would ask for plants. To be honest with you, if it's going on a part load service, I wouldn't recommend it because we don't actually water your plants for you. And there's also being in a hot vehicle in a storage facility is not great for the plant, but also you're paying for all that space above that plant because obviously we can't pack on top of it. So try and avoid things like that. Try and avoid any perishables. Alcohol, I would say have a party, just drink it all. Really not worth sending. Wine, again, when you pack wine for its safety, you've got to pack it upright. And if it's cork based, laying it on the side and not being laying on its side, it can actually potentially even turn into vinegar within the heat of the storage facility and transporting it out there. But yeah, on dedicated service, not a problem. We can do that for you. And in terms of cost, I would budget on average between £4 to £5.50 per cubic foot. So to give you an idea, a 3-bedroom property pretty much fills the capacity of a UK single garage. So 20 foot by 8 foot by 8 foot. And that you would be looking at 1,000 cubic feet. So therefore, you'd be looking around about just over £4,000 plus VAT. Now, the reason why I say plus VAT, as it stands right now, being part of that, the EU, unfortunately, there is VAT applicable. We are really, as it stands right now, we're not really sure the implications of moving in effects next year. Certainly, listening to the panel, it's going to become clear that there will be some restrictions in terms of customs forms may be needed, proof of residency may be needed. So hence, that's why we've got the sudden influx of people looking at moving this year, whilst, you know, we still got that security of moving effect. So if you are looking at moving this year, please, by all means, give us a call. Sending a couple of boxes, really cheap. You're only looking around about £56 a box as a door-to-door service. We get that turned around pretty quickly for you. But like I said, right from the outset, it's all about making contact with us, even though it would be great if PSS is one of your deciding factors on your chosen removalist. But for your own peace of mind, as long as the companies you're dealing with, especially now with the situation the world finds itself in, is making sure the companies you deal with have this correct accreditations. And with us as being members of the British Association of Removals, because you're paying up front for that move, you want to make sure, God forbid, that company doesn't go into administration. So as long as the companies that pop around have that accreditation, you will be in safe hands, and it's going to boil down to who you feel comfortable. And obviously, pricing structure does make a big difference. So that's it, keeping it short and sweet from myself. As Steve mentioned right at the beginning, you'll be kind enough to put our details, and everybody will receive an email from us. Am I correct, Steve, in saying that?
Correct. Yeah. Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you.
No, thank you, John. Actually, I think plan early is very much the message. Get in touch with you as soon as you've decided you're moving to Spain, I guess. Look, John, we've actually had a couple of questions. They're from Hugh. 2 questions from Hugh. I'll ask you them both now, and if you want reminding of the second one.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the first question is, do you have a self-pack service? And also, he asks, what if there is a delay in my house sale? I guess either selling the house in the UK or not completing on the house in Spain. So a delay of some sort, let's say.
Yeah. Well, no, really good questions. With regards to a self-pack service, yes, a lot of people do want to pack their own personal bits and pieces. And that's not just to Spain, that's globally. So we would recommend packing all the non-breakables. Our guys are all fully trained in accordance to the VAR. I mean, to give you an idea, crockery, each plate's individually packed upright, greaseproof tissue paper. We put a layer of crushed paper at the top because you're packing boxes on top of each other. You don't want those plates to be crushed. So anything with regards to clothing, books, toys, bedding, yes, please, by all means, utilize it. We're happy to deliver a selection of boxes beforehand, giving you that time. But certainly then that also is reflected in the costings because you've done a portion of the work that we would do. So certainly, definitely that is a good recommendation anyway for clients to go through certain things, giving them time to discard of items. With regards to their house sale falling through or their plans change, and this obviously can certainly in London, you know, people putting out exchange of contract at the last minute. What we do for all migrants, and this is again globally, we will give any client 4 weeks free storage in the UK. And then what that allows them is that gives them that little bit of flexibility on this end. I mean, and to be honest with you, storing it thereafter, you're only looking at 6 pence per cubic foot thereafter per week. So we do have that storage availability. Oh. Hold it here. When you're ready, we can get it out there. Not a problem.
Okay. Well, thanks again, John. And thank you to Hugh for your questions. Okay. We're now going to hear from Anthony of the Choice Alliance Group. He's a senior partner in their wealth management practice. So over to you, Anthony.
Thanks, Steve, for the introduction. As mentioned, I'm Anthony Roberts, a senior partner and wealth manager at Choice Alliance Group. Today I'm going to introduce who we are, what we do, and how we help people that move to Spain. So I'm just going to share my screen. Excellent. So, Choice Alliance Group, who are we? We're a truly independent organisation with advisors based throughout Europe. We're fully regulated and licensed to provide whole of market, transparent financial advice to individuals around the globe. Where are we based? So we specialise at remote-based advice, meaning that wherever you are, we can be on hand to answer any questions that you may have. But we do have physical offices in Villa Martin area in Spain, Dublin in Ireland, and Geneva, Switzerland. What services do we offer? So the first one is UK private pension review. Within the review, we will look at your pensions and that you hold. These could be defined benefit schemes or defined contribution schemes. We would give you a full overview of what they're doing for you, what they look like now and in the future, and what you wish to receive in retirement and take an income. So we can see kind of a full overview of how that looks for you and in your current situation. What impacts your pensions might have with Brexit, what impact it has with you living in a different country in terms of taxes and currency exchange. In addition to this, we'd also look at your state pension so you know the facts and figures. Existing savings and investments. So similar to your pensions, would give you a full overview of your savings and investments to make sure they're still relevant when you're moving to Spain. Key areas to look at are tax implications, costs, and management. Also, any investments with banks need to be reviewed, as currently they're taking steps to close accounts for expats living in Spain. This was recently announced by Barclays in the UK, where they're writing to Spanish UK expats saying they're going to close the accounts towards the end of the year. So they need to find new arrangements. IHT planning. So inheritance tax planning is often subject to overlooked by people. Depending on your net worth, upon death, you may have to pay inheritance tax in the UK, even though you're living in a different country. So what we would do is we would look at ways to mitigate or reduce this issue. UK mortgage reviews. Even though you're leaving the UK, you may still have a property or a few properties with a mortgage on. We would specialise in looking at those mortgages or mortgage, as a new expat in Spain, and reviewing your current rates, and making sure that you're basically receiving the best rate on the market from your mortgage provider, or is there something better for you? So we can look at that. Lump sum investments. We offer a range of investments to meet our clients' needs. They're tax compliant in Spain, and to match your investment risk level there as well. So how can we help individuals move into Spain? So you've probably found a property that you want, that you're going to purchase. You've selected a moving date. You may have spoke to John at PSS about your removals. Your next step might be to get your financial affairs in order. That's where we can help. We would sit down with you via telephone, Skype or Zoom and discuss your current and future financial needs. This normally takes about 50 to 60 minutes, depending on your circumstances, and it's a free initial consultation. Once this part is complete, we would provide a report with our recommendation and a breakdown of what that looks like. And then from there, we would probably hold a further call to discuss that recommendation, where you would answer or ask us any questions that you may have. I just have an example now of a couple that's were planning to locate to Spain and were concerned about their savings and income when they arrive. The couple were 55 and planned to find employment once they'd become settled. As the couple had good working history in the UK, they both amassed private pensions, although they were not permitted to access them until they reached 65 years of age, due to the pensions being defined benefit schemes. We assessed their situation and gave them all the pros and cons of accessing their pension early. Some of the benefits they liked were able to take an amount of capital from their pension tax-free, changing the currency partially to euro, and achieving a flexible income opposed to a rigid structure their current pension was offering. By taking our advice, it gave them a buffer of savings in their current account, but also ensured they had the option of taking an income if they wanted to. Also, they were happy to have their pensions managed and received a regular updates that might come with pension rule changes and also the impact of Brexit. In addition to this, if the clients were unable to find work, it left them the option of withdrawing a regular income as and when they need it. As once it had crystallised, we had crystallised their pensions, the requirement to wait until they were 65 no longer applied. And even if things didn't work out for them in Spain and they decided to return to the UK or elsewhere, we ensured that their pensions were kept in a UK structure to ensure not only the highest level of regulation, but also flexible for the future. This kind of structure is called a SIP, self-invested personal pension. And you can hold a SIP and take its benefits anywhere in the world, including the UK. So if you did decide to return, you're not permitted to continue taking an income. Thank you for listening. Steve is sharing our information at the end. Any questions, please ask away or send us an email from there.
Okay. Thanks, Anthony. And don't forget, everyone, we do have a Q&A with the panelists, and that will commence after we've heard once again from Amaya. Now, this time she's more specifically talking about residency in Spain. So once again, Amaya, just put you on the screen there, and there we go. Welcome back.
Thank you. I need to share my screen back again, so that you can see the information. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, there it is. Brilliant.
Excellent.
So we will talk about, whoops, I don't know what happened here. Sorry, excuse me. This is. We will talk about the Brexit implications, and the main implications for individuals are two: the residency and the taxes. Regarding the residency, I think most of the people already know the withdrawal agreement provided a transition period until 31st of December 2020. So even if you have already left the European Union, we are still in this period. So from July, there are two main situations. The first situation is those UK nationals residing already in Spain, these ones during and after the transition period shall maintain their rights: residency, work, free movement, social security. However, you may apply for the residency document. This is now known as the TIE, which is a foreigner identity card. The second situation is those who arrive after the transition period, and they will have different rights. Which rights? Well, we don't know. It will depend on the future agreements. By the moment, if you arrive after the 1st of January 2021 to Spain, you'll be considered a third country national, and therefore general immigration regime will apply unless an agreement between the parties, between the UK and the European Union, is reached. But as you can see, lately they don't have a very good relation, so we don't rely too much on that. You know, what we know is that you will be treated like third country national. So at this point, I decided to do like practical questions, so more than just explaining the withdrawal agreement with all the technical things. So the first question is how to get the TIE and how long will it take to get it? Well, it will depend. It will depend on if you have a registration certificate already, which is the green paper that most people have, or not. If you have this registration certificate, you must request an appointment that you can do it online and submit your application personally. The new residency document will be given, well, it will be decided for the office that process the card, because the maximum time is 3 months. They don't take so long, but it depends on how much workload at the office that is still in half. The second case, this is if you don't have this green paper, you have 3 steps. The first step is the application. You can do it online or face-to-face or by a representative. And the second step is request the dispatch of this card. And the third step is collecting this card. The second and the third, I mean, requesting for dispatching the card and collecting the card, both have to be done personally. The next question is, when should I request the TIE? Before the 31st December? Well, applications for the replacement of the registration certificate already in your possession, if you already have this green paper, you can ask for the replacement anytime, including once the transition period is over. But if you don't have this green paper, then the deadline for submitting the application will be 3 months from your arrival to Spain. But in this case, you need to know that if you don't get it before the December 31st, then you will be considered a third country national, with losing some kind of benefits like free movement, right to work and these things. Can another person file a residency document application in my place? Well, as I commented before, requests to the immigration offices may be made by duly accredited representative. This means with a power of attorney. This is the power of attorney we were talking about at the beginning when we talk about the purchase process. In this power of attorney, you will grant powers to your lawyer to do all this work, to apply requests for the immigration officers for the TIE. However, the application for the dispatch of the card and the collection must be done personally and with a valid passport. So you be aware to have the passport valid. Basic documentation to be provided. If you, oops, sorry, I don't know what, okay, sorry. If you do not have the registration certificate, which is the green paper, it will depend on what is your situation. For example, if you're going to work, if you're going to be a self-employee, or if you are not going to work at all, because you have incomes coming for your business, or you're a pensionist. So some of the documents will be the same for all the applicants, but some of them will be slightly different. So I will focus in this case on the people that won't work in Spain. You will need the application form and pay a fee. That fee is very cheap. I think it's around 12 euros, something like that. You will need a valid and current passport, the original. You will take the original and copy of all the pages, and or depending in the case, the power of attorney. Also, you will need documentation attesting that you resided in Spain before the end of December 2020, or if you go asking for later, it will you need to prove that the person falls into the scope of the agreement. For example, if you have had a rental before, then you can prove that you have been residing before, and then you are within the scope of the agreement. For sure, you will need a health insurance, public or private, with a coverage equivalent to the national health system in Spain. In this case, pensioners shall be deemed to fulfill this condition. You will provide just the S1, I think that is the certificate from the NHS in the UK, and with that you will be deemed to fulfill this condition. And also you will need to prove sufficient resources to support yourself and dependent members of your family. This sufficient resources, they say sufficient means, it will depend. It can come from your income, from pension, for you are renting your property in the UK, or you have a bank deposit. So there are several ways to prove that you have enough resources to live for your own, and that you won't be charged for the Spanish security system. And also, and that is very easy, it is one photograph. So what about the golden visa? This is the famous golden visa. So golden visa is a residency permit for non-European nationals. This golden visa will give you the right to stay and work in Spain, and it grants automatic residency in Spain when you purchase a property of 500,000 euros or more. Also, when you do another kind of investments, but this is the more useful, but you can invest buying shares of a company and other kind of investments. One of the most relevant characteristics of that, the golden visa does not require you to live in Spain. a minimum period. You can just visit Spain once during each residency period, which the first period I think is 1 year, then it's 2 years, and it can be extended for as long as you keep the property or the investment. The process is extended to married or unmarried couples as well as to the children. And as explained, you can renew the visa as long as you keep the property or the investment. And finally, the golden visa grants you the right to work and allows you to free travel to the Schengen countries of Europe. Now, without the golden visa, once you have your residency permit in Spain, you will have to be aware of the regulation of each country in Europe when you want to travel and stay there. But with the golden visa, it allows you to free travel the whole Schengen countries. And this is the main important things about the Brexit regarding the residency. About the taxation, I won't go too deep in this. I just will say that this will affect for UK nationals that already have a property in Spain, and we'll see the difference. But the thing is that the taxes will be increased as you will be considered third country national. Mainly the taxes affected will be the non-resident imputed income tax, the rental tax, the capital gain tax, and inheritance and gift tax, because you won't be able to apply the benefits of the regions that nowadays you can do. I'm so sad to talk about taxes. So, Brexit summary. The plan approved declared that the Spanish residency certificate will be needed to confirm legal residency in Spain. It makes clear that British nationals residing in Spain who have not obtained the Spanish residency registration certificate, this is the green card, before the Brexit will be treated differently to those who have obtained the certificate before the UK leaves the European Union. This is what I've been explaining. After that moment, you will be considered third country national, and therefore the general immigration regime will be applied. From July, there is only one process, whether you apply for your residency registration certificate or for the card, the identity for foreigners. The UK nationals residing in Spain during and after the transition period shall maintain the rights. So right, residency, work, free movement, social security. And if you arrive in Spain after January the 1st, you will be considered third country national, and the general immigration regime will be applied. The transition period have given the British national more time to get their residency, but advise that after that period, if you fail to obtain the residency document, you will be considered third country nationals and lose some benefits. So any Brit living in Spain or planning to live in Spain who has not yet obtained the Spanish residency document is well advised to waste no time and get it now. Steve, from my side, if they have any questions, I will be glad to answer. From my side, this is all.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Amaya. I think that really underlines that if you want to be resident, you're a UK citizen wishing to be resident in Spain, it really is best to act now and get everything in motion before the end of the transition period, because after then, as it stands at the moment, it's going to be much more difficult, unless of course an agreement is met. But the way things are at the moment is looking a bit tenuous there. But anyway, hey, we're going to go into the Q&A session now. Now, I have a question from Stuart. It's sort of several questions, and it covers some issues related to the Brexit implications, and some of this, Amaya, you've already covered, but maybe we could just go through this again so everyone understands the points that Stuart has raised. first of all, he's asked, what are the requirements from the 1st of January 2021 for UK citizens looking to move permanently to Spain, as it stands at the moment, as we know?
I didn't understand the question. Can you repeat? Oops. What is it? Because I don't have lights. Sorry. Wait a sec. I don't know what happens.
Okay.
Oops. Excuse me.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. What I was asking is, what Stuart's asking is what are the requirements from the 1st of January 2021 for UK citizens looking to move permanently to Spain? And obviously, as it stands, the UK will be considered a third nation status. So, for example, if we had someone from a third nation status country, what would in general terms, what would the requirements be for them to become resident in Spain?
General terms, yeah, in general terms, you will be required to show proof that you are going to work, that you're going to study here, or that you have income. At the moment when you apply for the NI number, they don't ask you anything. You just give your British passport and just apply for the NIE. That's it. With the NIE number, you can buy a property, open a bank account, and live like a Spanish people live here. But now you will have to apply to the residency. So then you will have to prove much more things. For example, the income. If you can support yourself, or if you're going to be a self-employee, they will ask you as well information about how are you going to live if it doesn't work, or what is going to be your income. As well, the security, the health insurance. At the moment, you don't need to have the health insurance because you're covered with health security system of the European Union in your country and in Spain, but that will change. So you will have more difficulties. And once you are here, your taxes, if you are not resident, your taxes will be higher. For example, in the income tax, you are paying a rate over the base. You are paying now 19%, but you will pay the 24%. So there will be more paperwork, more paperwork, more taxes.
Okay. The second question, actually, you've just covered there, talking about financial requirements and health insurance requirements. Stuart also asked, is it possible to obtain an NIE by post from the UK? I actually know the answer to this. You can actually you can obtain an NIE through the Spanish consulate in London. However, they are not giving out appointments at the moment. So the only route really is if you were to contract a solicitor, give them a power of attorney, and included in that power of attorney, a mayor, for example, would be able to obtain you an NIE. Is that correct, Amaya? There.
Yeah, at the moment they are not giving appointment, because from July the two ways is if you already have the green document, the registration certificate already, then you need to replace that for the residency document, and that is something you can take the appointment online, but that is something that you have to do personally in the immigration office of the place where you're going to live. And
Amaya, sorry to interrupt you. There was a bit of a misunderstanding. It's talking about the NIE, the fiscal number, not the TIE, the NIE.
Yeah, it is, because anyway, if you are applying nowadays, there is just one process for both.
Oh, I see.
You can't apply just for the NIE, because that is going to disappear. So even if you are applying for the NIE, they will recontact you to the TIE.
Okay,
because
I understand now.
It is just up to December, so they are not giving NI numbers right now.
Okay, and one last part, and this is something I have to say, I tried to do a bit of research on when I saw the question. Stuart mentions that he's read somewhere on the internet something called a Brexit transition visa. Is that anything that you're aware of? I've tried searching on the internet for it, and I don't come across.
No, I never heard about that. The transition is a transition period right now, and after that, I never heard I didn't heard about that. And maybe he's asking that even if you have the green card already, which is the certification of the being a European citizen, with that paper, even if the transition period has finished, you can apply for the residency. You show proof that you have been living here before. But there is I never heard about a kind of transitional visa. Maybe they are calling that way, but not in the laws.
Okay, thank you for that, and thank you, Stuart, for your questions. It might well be that you want to contact Amar directly by email or give her a call, and we will be giving out the various contact details after the webinar. Next, we have a question. This is from Elaine. It refers to UK state pensions, so I'm going to give this one to Anthony to answer first of all. Okay, so basically, Elaine plans to relocate to Spain and is due to receive her UK state pension in 2 years' time, but she's heard that she will only get a fraction of her pension if she lives in Spain. Is this correct?
No, as long as she's had the full 35 years of contribution to the national insurance system, she will get a full UK state pension there. Okay. If she's contributed between 10 to 35 years, she will get a partial amount depending on the year she's contributed there. Yeah.
But presumably that would happen if she was in the UK, moving to Spain, or staying in the UK. It'd just be the same anyway.
Yeah, it'd be the same, depending on if she's got a job now, or if she's leaving now and retiring in 2 years. The pension she'll get paid, depending on the amount, if it's full or partial, is gross. So she'll get paid without any tax deducted, but she'll need to declare that in Spain.
Right. Okay. And the next part of Elaine's question, probably best dealt with by Patrick. Although a little bit of the answer Anthony just said. So she's heard that it must be paid into a Spanish bank account, which I think Anthony was just saying it's paid into Spain. So it's subject to exchange rate fluctuations. What can she do about this, Patrick?
If the pension is paid directly into a Spanish bank, then there's not a great deal we can do. But if the pension originates in the UK, then she should be able to ask the provider to pay that into a UK bank, or some pension providers will pay directly to our client account.
Right.
She can get the pension in sterling into our UK account, and we can convert it at a much more cost-effective rate than a high street bank and send it over to Spain for her.
Right, okay. Okay, I have one final question. This one's for John. So this is from Simon. Thank you, Simon. And he says, has the coronavirus situation caused any problems with deliveries? I guess he means removals arriving in Spain. Has there been any form of delays or anything like that? Can you hear me?
Well, not really, and not really, and that was and quite surprisingly, even during, when we were in total lockdown, obviously we had to pretty much shut up shop and nobody was allowed out. But once everything was opened up, vehicles moving out, however, there is even now there is a slight delay, not in necessary term collecting the goods. So the UK is absolutely fine. Yes, we do ask clients to sign this new governing body agreement called a COVID-19 removals agreement, basically to protect the client and ourselves, in the sense that we will pop around with gloves, we will pop around with masks, and asking clients to keep the windows open, trying to keep that social distance. So, but in terms of deliveries, the biggest problem at the moment is the backlog of vehicles crossing over the channel. So because of delays, it's not just Spain. A lot of companies will not just fill that vehicle with effects going to Spain. There could be a couple of other country effects. So they may be going through Spain to somewhere else and offload here, move along. So it's more crossing the channel in the UK that's causing a delay. But when we say a delay, we're talking worst case scenario by a week. Obviously, who knows what's going to happen going forward. But certainly, again, like I mentioned earlier, we would offer that storage if needed. But we will work with the client and obviously keep you completely informed of any changes and keep you up to date. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, John. Thank you very much. And we've just about well, we've actually slightly overrun by a few minutes, but that's okay. So we're just all on time, more or less. So I'd like to thank all of you attending the webinar, viewing the webinar this evening. I hope it's been of use to you. And as I say, you will be receiving an email from us with all the contact information, an opportunity if you need to watch the webinar again, or you want to watch a bit of it again, it'll be up on YouTube quite soon. So all it leaves me to do is to thank our panelists, John Moynes of PSS International Removals, Patrick Postel of the Global Reach Group, Amaya Lugariaga from Prime Legal, and Anthony from the Choice Alliance Group. Thank you very much, guys, for attending. And yeah, okay, we look forward maybe to seeing some of you all in Spain soon. Cheers.
Sure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.